And we're going to start, though, first of all, in London, where global markets are going to focus on the outcome of the second and thought to be final day of trade talks between the US and China. Well, the two sides met on Monday. There were handshakes for the cameras as the world's two biggest economies try to diffuse the trade war that has spooked global markets. Commenting on Monday, President Trump said he was getting good reports on the talks, but that China was, quote, not easy. Now, the two sides have been at loggerheads since agreeing something of a tariff truce last month, with China's stranglehold over rare earth metals and the US's tech dominance the biggest bargaining chips. Let's talk to our reporter, Jonathan Josephs, who is there at those talks. And Jonathan, give us a sense of what's being discussed today. And I suppose, whether a trade deal will get done.
That's right, Ben. Lots of talks going on behind me. Day two of these talks started just under an hour ago here at Lancaster House, a UK government building here in central London, a stone's throw from Buckingham Palace. Inside, we've got the teams from the US and China, the world's two biggest economies, trying to thrash out some of their differences, trying to make some progress on these tensions, which are having a huge impact on the global economy, threatening global economic growth. Both sides have been rather tight-lipped about what's actually happening. But we did hear from the US Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, when he arrived here a short while ago. He said, "We did all day yesterday, and I expect to do all day today. It's going well, and we're spending a lot of time together." So there is some sense of positivity about the progress that they're making in these talks. We haven't heard very much from the Chinese side so far. But we do know that President Trump has also been kept abreast of what's happening at the White House. He said that things were going well, but that China was tough to deal with. We know that both sides are under pressure to make some kind of progress because one of President Trump's economic advisors was saying about the pressure American supply chains are feeling over rare earths, talking about the car industry in particular. So they are keen to increase that flow of rare earth metals from China. China controls the global flow of those with 70% of mining and 90% of production. And China did increase export licenses for those metals over the weekend. In return, China wants the lifting of some US export controls on semiconductors and other high-end technology. And we think that may be some progress on that because Howard Lutnick, the US Commerce Secretary, is the man in charge of those restrictions, and he is here. He wasn't in Geneva at the last round of talks. So a sign of positivity because and in China, there is that hope that they can do a deal because President Xi has a lot of domestic pressure in terms of the economy. Things aren't going well, and exports to America have dropped significantly. So both sides are hoping to make progress, and there may well be some kind of conclusion later today that brings some kind of relief on those export controls, but more issues will still need to be sorted at a further date.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan, I know you'll keep us posted, but for now, thank you. Jonathan Josephs there, live at those talks in central London.